pressure. How do you deal with pressure? Do you feel anxiety? Do you get nervous about stuff? Do you feel pressure? There's multiple ways that I look at that, and there's multiple things that I do to kind of help mitigate that and try to get the most of it. And the first thing that I would say right out of the gate is,
in a world where nuclear war has begun, vampires fought back in super real 3D.
every time you face a situation that causes some anxiety or stress or pressure, and you face that thing head on, you grow from it. Now, you don't only learn from it, but you actually get like a thicker skin. Like you can handle more stuff. And the more times that you do it over and over and over again, it's just like trying to build a muscle. Every time you feel that burn, you are burning your muscle down, and then your body goes back to repair that muscle. And in doing so, it actually kind of builds like basically an extra little teeny tiny layer. And it's almost like a protective coat to try and prevent it from happening again or thicken up. And so you do that over years, you get muscles. Well, you could think of it like a muscle. If you keep avoiding all responsibility and taking on situations that cause pressure, that muscle will atrophy. And the smallest things will freak you out. Versus facing each thing head on, fail or success, just you doing them will make you better at taking on those challenges and not getting freaked out about it. And before you know it, over the course of years, you will be able to handle situations that you otherwise couldn't have really handled at all just a few years prior. And it's amazing how you can just get tougher and tougher and better at it. And there is muscle memory too. You can go on a gap, feel a bit rusty, get back into doing something, putting yourself in a pressure cooker situation. And maybe it's scary at first, but you're gonna get back to where you were way faster than it took to get there. So there's muscle memory with that too. So it's very, very comparable to a muscle, the mind, right? I mean, that's really what we're talking about. Your perception. You can have the same situation and it's completely based on what your perception is as to what it is. Is it something scary or is it something absolutely exciting and fun? That's really just your perception in most cases. And if you're facing something that you know that you want to do, but it makes you scared, like for instance, playing a show on a stage. You play music, have you performed in front of people? And the bigger the audience, maybe the scarier it is, or the more important the people are, the scarier it is. It's your perception that's going to shape shift what your experience is from it when you do it. And so you get better and better at shaping that into something that you view as, I acknowledge and respect that I'm nervous about this, have anxiety about this, that the build up to it is stressful. When it comes time to do it, that I'm just going to focus and be able to accomplish the task, give yourself that confidence to do it, and then coming out the other side of that. What that ends up becoming is basically a maturity, a strength for you to be able to handle situations for the kinds of things that you dream about doing. Because all the stuff that you dream about doing is actually a big thing, right? It's something that does get you a little bit nervous. You think you feel really confident about it now. It's easy to say that. When it actually comes time to do it, when it really flips and the reality is facing you right there, it can be really scary. You can be blown away at what happens. You're like, oh, well, I thought I was ready. And then you kind of clam up, you get kind of nervous and stuff like that. Like that all can happen. Keep facing those things, get better and better at handling pressure, because you do get better the more times that you face it. It's also really the only way to find some sort of relief with it, because like I said, if you keep avoiding it, it's just gonna appear in something else. And that other thing that it appears in is probably gonna be something that doesn't even mean something to you as far as like life fulfillment goes. It might be the complete pain in the butt thing that you just that has nothing to do with your like life experience that you would like to have, why not put that focus and that effort of mastering handling pressure into something that gets you closer to a goal with your life that you would love to see it land in? Some of the things that I do that help me tremendously is I do meditate. I really recommend meditating. Now, you can meditate regardless of you being religious or not, or being religious and whatever religion it is. You can do it however you want to do it. But there is something to the concept of standing still for a moment, taking some deep breaths, and just becoming as absolutely aware as possible of what is happening in the very second that you're standing in. I mean, everything from your breath to the way that things sound to watching your thoughts go by on the parade that they are constantly doing. And when you can stop for a moment and really separate yourself from that, it does something. It's like a reset. It gives you perspective. I found my spiritual animal. And it does take those things that seem like such crazy high intensity pressure and it puts them into a box a bit. So I do recommend exploring some meditation. If you choose to do that with prayer, that's fine. I mean, pick your, I was going to say pick your poison, but I don't think that exactly works here. So just pick what works for you, but there is something to taking even just 10 minutes out of a day. I used to meditate for like 30 minutes and then I would do that sometimes an hour, and then I would do that for like maybe 3 times a week. Now I do 10 minutes a day, like most every day, and I actually like that better. So that's something you might want to explore, but you can look up whoever you want to look up to follow. I'm not giving a meditation class. I am definitely not a master of meditation, but the amount that I do does help me. Another thing that really helps me with pressure situations is, and I mean, I don't want to harp on this, but honestly, exercise is huge. And I'm not just talking about just doing exercise for your endorphins, which is great, and getting some stress relief and the way that the hormonal balance that it gives, all that is awesome, and it really can deal with stress. It really can help you. But there is something to absolutely taking something and like taxing yourself out. And what I'll do is like, even whether it be a jog or hitting the bag or something, usually a cardio-based thing, I'll take that and I'll have a goal line at the end. Now, whether I'm being timed or going a distance, whatever it is, like I'm gonna do this solid for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, or I'm gonna run to this certain point, whatever it is, I pretend that at the goal line, if I get to that goal line faster, if I get to that goal line with more precision or more energy, whatever I'm doing, if I do that in my head, I'm actually picturing that somehow I can do absolutely anything I set my mind to. Like I literally picture that, like that's the reward at the end of the goal. And so I'll do that like 4 to 6 times a week for years. And if you don't think that that's some kind of mental training to get you to a point where you can apply that on stuff where that's not physical, then you're missing the boat, because I'm telling you, just go ahead and try and do something physical and completely exhaust yourself. Go all the way to the end point and get used to that sensation of having to push through, you wanting to quit, your body just choosing to quit. If you can do that, then you can apply that to your work habits. You can apply that to whatever the goal thing is that you're doing with your art and what it actually takes to get you there. It's not about ignoring the idea that you have anxiety about it or being nervous about it. It's about watching that happen, acknowledging the gravity of the situation, but yet still being able to stay calm. That's the balance. It's not about, I think that there's a problem if you get too comfortable with something and you don't have any anxiety or nervousness about it. It's like, I don't know that you're sharp enough, that level of high intensity like that, then anything that happens, you're aware of. You're hypersensitive, because it's like driving a fast car. And if you're just totally calm about it, if you'll accidentally bump into something or you'll veer off the road, there's something to having like that tension, it enabling you to perform even better and be more on point. But the only way to turn it into that, the only way to get that from it, is to be able to stay calm. And again, that's where I feel like meditation and exercise are huge. If there was one thing that I'd want to leave you with as like just a recommendation from me about how to handle pressure, it's keep facing it. Don't avoid it. Every time you avoid it, that muscle is going to atrophy and you're going to be weaker and weaker on even smaller and smaller things. Like the smallest things will eventually start being pressure situations for you because you keep avoiding it. You have to keep facing that dragon. And if you keep facing it, then you just get stronger and stronger. And then you'll be able to handle situations that you dream about. Anything that you do in life that has pressure to it, if you face it, it will carry over into the other things. Me performing on a stage absolutely helped give me confidence. Go into certain companies and be confident about doing something for them that I'd never actually done before with a camera or editing, and pushing the envelope on myself and putting myself in a pressure cooker situation of where I had to perform, and I chose failure, not an option, which I don't really like that term. But with this, like, you could choose, I could go back and film something again if it came down to it. Failure's not an option. Like, I'll keep doing it until it becomes something great. That was the kind of failure is not an option approach that I gave to that. But there's aspects of failure is not an option that I think is silly, because failures in themselves are where you grow. Even when I go out on new shoots, I still have areas where I feel like, I wouldn't even call it a failure. It's just like, I want to do that differently next time for sure. Like, I don't like the way that came out. Like, oh, I see what I did wrong there. And I can do all of these things, make all these assessments on myself and not beat myself up about it. Because I'm learning. Like, forever, I will try to be learning. And as long as it doesn't hurt me emotionally to analyze and scrutinize myself that much, then I'm not causing myself any damage. I'm just growing as an artist and still enjoying the idea that I have the opportunity not only to make the project that I'm working on, but also what I'm learning from it. So I love to try and do something new in every single project that I do. I always try to figure out something, whether it's an editing thing, or it's a filming thing, or it's a collaborative thing, or whatever it is. You could name any project that I've done, and I could probably tell you what it was that I did for the first time for that project, because I'm always trying to keep growing the skill set and evolving. So anyway, every time you do that, it's a little bit of pressure, right? You're doing something that you've never done before, and you're getting paid to do it, so you've got to deliver. So that's pressure. Hope that you guys continue to explore it yourselves and get to fulfill your dreams. So go at it, guys. See you next time.
Movie Voice.